Hello everyone. I want to continue the topic of what is freedom in a different dimension that's called water consciousness. And it's a technique that Veda Austin has come up with to investigate the language of water and to make sense of images that are formed from it through a specific freezing technique. And although she's looking for consistent symbols to then put together a language, what I'm doing is just holding attention with the water and then freezing it and then looking at the images that come through. So again, I'm staying in this theme of what is freedom, and I'm exploring it through water consciousness. And so there are two images that I have here, and she suggests that you can freeze one and use the same water and freeze it again to get additional information. So the first one is on the left and the second one is on the right. So I'm going to go through and show you some of the images that I see, and you're always welcome to look at it further to see what else is present for you. And indeed, comment if you see something significant to share with the rest of us. So let's start with the first freezing. And this is that image blown up. And one aspect that I see is up in this upper portion here, which feels like an opening, like there's something open. Now my background here is of part of the yard, so the colors don't mean anything here, but it's interesting that this part is in the sky area. So maybe it has something to coincidentally to do with the fact that there's some opening, maybe to spirit or to some other realm, higher realm. But probably the first image that I see here, I've kind of outlined here, is kind of this crab, which reflects back to me as the symbol of Cancer, and which is generally a sign related to the heart. For me in particular, I'm a quadruple Aries, Sun, Moon, Mars, and Jupiter, but my Cancer is my rising sign. And it's also the sign that they say is what you present more to the world. So within me is kind of a driven value, and yet it's tempered by having heart-centeredness. But here within this image and Cancer, and even in our last discussions, there has been talk about being heart-centered, to come from the heart and being grounded in the earth. But I think the image here is just relating to the heart itself. The next thing that I saw was kind of this little guy down below here. And these two slanted objects kind of first made me think of little chopsticks and picking at the details. But as I drew these lines in, it kind of reminded me of an owl, and so maybe there's something about wisdom that wants to come through and opening the wings of wisdom. But let's go back to the non-marked image here and see what maybe it looks like to you with that same, without the black in there. And maybe you get the idea of how these sort of look like a masked man and some maybe some chopsticks here, getting into the details of things. The last image was a little bit disturbing to me, and you almost can't see it unless you blow it up. So I'm going to show you where the location is here, because it doesn't show very well what I saw. And go back up to the original here, and then I'm going to zoom in. And I don't know if you see it, but it looks like this little, I don't know, kind of a devilish figure. There's a nose and eyes and a little tooth. And then over here, I see like a paw and some rather large claws there. And it looks like to me he's taking back the curtain, so to speak, or he's trying to involve himself in this scene of the crab and the heart that I was bringing up earlier. So maybe it's to beware of devious people or devilish people or something that is behind the scenes that we might not know about. So be careful of something behind the scenes in our freedom. Maybe that alludes to my desire to talk about freedom in a non-violent way, and yet there maybe is a proclivity for violence when we are trying to get our point across, or we're trying to desire something for ourselves that is different from others. There might be a push, and there might be this line between the heart and the devil, let's say. So it's kind of amazing that I saw that image in there, and it might be quite hidden, perhaps within us. The more unconscious we are of ourselves and what's happened to in our lives, and how we're driven by the culture, all of these things that we've grown up with that influence us, we might be unaware of where this aspect is coming through and trying to influence us, such that maybe we don't think that we have freedom, or we have difficulty in experiencing freedom. Something like that maybe is coming through here. So then let's go down or back up here to these two images. So I just looked at the first one, and now I'm going to go look at this one over here, which, just from looking at it without any markings, what I see is a great opening in the center. So a suggestion to be open, or to create space for anything that you want to create with your freedom. If your space is all cluttered up with many different things, it might be difficult to interject something more, some new aspect. So if you create space and then say, okay, now I want this, I want to be free in this way, and cultivate that in the space that's open. Let's see. So then, but the other thing I see here is kind of this guy with frantic hair, and this kind of a sun of an eye. And I guess it reminds me of, letting your hair out, being a little bit crazy, thinking outside the box. And yet I think there's something sweet in the image, that it's kind of soft and loving in some way. so that our freedom may have different characteristics to it. But the freedom to be expressive. Maybe it's not crazy hair, maybe it's really great hair. It's this person's perspective on what freedom is for them, being allowed to have the crazy hair. I think also, though, when I look at this eye portion here, it's almost like the sun as well as an eye. And it's like something is beginning to open. So maybe that's about having this space, and then this is one aspect that is starting to open before all of this, we'll just call it crazy hair, comes out. And maybe freedom is about having crazy ideas, or ideas that seem crazy at the time, but then as they develop, they become something more. And other people become interested as well. And then sometimes paradigms change, and it's what seemed crazy all along really isn't crazy at all. So these are just a couple of images in water consciousness, something that I've been interested in exploring, and just a different dimension in a way that we can look at different questions together. So please comment about what you see, and I hope you enjoyed this different dimension of looking at different aspects and questions. Thank you for joining me today, and I'll see you again soon. Bye now.